Hi, so here we are after 50 years. I'm about to make my second balsa wood plane, courtesy of the Vintage Model Company. First thing I noticed is how much easier it is when the pieces are all cut on a CNC machine. The slightest little nick just to get your pieces off the board, whereas in the old days we used to have to scribe all the way around with our blade. Any road. Here we go. The outside pieces that were fit in there to the centre section, R2, are important in as much as the wings butt up to these pieces, and these have to be lent in at a slight angle. Now the important bit about that is the angle needs to be the same on each side, or as near as you can get it. Otherwise you have a slightly different elevation on each wing. Now the other thing is, which unfortunately due to a technical issue with the cameraman, I'm unable to show you the fitting of R2A on both sides. Now the trick with them is they fit just inside the R2 edges at the top there, where my fingers are, and they need to be lent in at the same angle as the outside edges, and also the gap you're looking for is the width of the diameter of the wire which is used on the landing wheels, the wire that's supplied with the kit. So as we move on to the right wing, as you can see the left wing's already been completed. Thought I'd have a practice before I showed you. Not too much to worry about with the wings. There are a couple of things, but it's just slightly later on in the video. So initially just pin your outside edges into place. I've seen some people that pin through the balsa wood and others that don't, so I opted for the not pinning through the balsa wood, just down the edges, just thinking that logically that should not weaken the balsa wood. So the other thing on that note as well, initially I had my templates sat on top of cutting mats, but I soon changed that for corkboard, as the pins didn't like to go into the cutting mats, and seemed to be much happier in the corkboard, so that was a little help. It's always worth trying your pieces in place before you actually glue them. Obviously any irregularities that you might find, you can generally tweak them and sort things out before you put the glue on. The glue that comes with the kit, by the way, it's only a PVA wood glue, but it's quite good, and you do get plenty. They do say don't put too much on, as it will affect the weight, but surely if it's so restricted by weight that a little dab of glue is going to affect it, then I think we're going to have issues. But anyway, that's what they say. Now these two spars, one's slightly longer than the other, and one, the top one, butts up to the rib, whereas the lower one actually goes inside the rib. There's an actual cutout for that, but the top one is literally just stops at the edge of the rib. Not quite sure why, but there you go. Then you just proceed to put all your ribs into place. Dab of glue, try and ensure that they're all 90 degrees to the base. Nice and straight, nice and upright. Now I've jumped the gun a little bit there, but what I did was on the two pieces, which is there, W6 and W7 are little strengtheners, and I didn't put them in till I'd put the top spar on. And obviously if you're on the ball, it's easier to pop them in before you put the top spar on, so we live and learn. Now this is where the importance of getting those two outside edges on the centre section at an equal angle to each other, because now the wings, as we fit the wings to the centre section, you'll see how the angles on those two outside edges become important, because as we clamp these edges, the wings to the outside edges, they'll elevate off the board, and I'm not sure, if you haven't got them angles right, there's an awful lot you can do to change it, so try and get those angles on the centre section right from the get-go. I'm just popping some bits of scrap wood in there, because these clothes pegs are brilliant, but they're also quite strong, so I didn't want it to squash the balsa wood, so just popped a bit of scrap wood in between the faces of the pegs. Obviously leave it to dry, and then I just give it a quick measure at each end to see if the elevation matched. Now it's not forced to be the same for you exactly, but mine came out at roughly an inch off the deck at both sides, and I don't think it matters massively what that elevation is, but the object is, as I say, to try and get it the same. Now you'll see later on mine's not exactly the same, even though I thought it was at the time, so hey ho, worst case scenario, we'll probably just fly around in circles, but